I'm here downtown Beirut in Martyrs Square, and you can see behind me this incredible party atmosphere. It really is. Just behind me, we've got Lebanese pop going on. Just to the right of me, we've got debke, which is traditional Lebanese dancing. People milling around everywhere. And earlier today, there were fewer protesters here. It was a lighter atmosphere than yesterday, and one of the reasons for that is that civil society had called for a general strike, and that didn't happen. Lots of places opened, and lots of companies said to their employees, if you don't come in, you will be fired. And of course, many of the people who are protesting the most, who are most in need of economic change, are the people who most can't afford to miss their jobs and lose their jobs. So far fewer people earlier, and people were saying there was a different atmosphere from the weekend. It was far more negative, far more angry, but that really does seem to be changing now this evening. People milling into the streets after Saad Hadi's announcement to voice their distrust of those comments, and if you look behind me, you can see hundreds of thousands of people already turning up again.
There were big protests in 2015. This really does feel different.
This feels so different. In 2015, there were big protests, but firstly, they were really concentrated in Beirut. It was a very liberal Beirut protest aimed at removing those problems. That is not the case here, for two reasons. Firstly, this has spread across the country. It's not just Beirut that's packed. Other cities are more packed. Saida, Tripoli, Sur, those are all from different religious denominations. So it's spread across the country, and it's that issue of the religious denominations as well. Different sects. Normally, people protest within their sects under their party's flag. We are not seeing that. We are seeing people across the country protesting underneath the Lebanese flag saying we are one, and when we say we want them out, we mean all of them, every single politician. Sectarian politicians people would never have dreamed of protesting against.
Yeah, the Prime Minister hinting, saying, I'm with you. We could even have snap elections. Can Saad Hariri save his seat?
Absolutely. So really, Saad Hariri has played this very well. Since Friday, he has portrayed himself as being united with the Lebanese people, wanting the same things they want. He said on Friday, I am giving this cabinet 72 hours to tell me and the Lebanese people what they're going to do to change the situation. And his speech today, full of concessions. He said, you young people protesting, you have broken all the barriers, you have shaken all the political parties, and you have reunited the people under the Lebanese identity rather than sectarian identities. He said, it's not for me to tell you to get off the streets. If these reforms aren't enough for you, I will protect your right to protest. So he's playing a very clever game. Whether that will manifest is not clear. The actual reforms that he is suggesting are quite a lot. Now, they managed to pass this budget, the 2020 budget, this morning in a single morning. Just for context, it took them 4 days of fierce negotiation to pass the 2019 budget, and that was far less, had far fewer changes in it than this one does. Clearly, they are taking this very, very seriously. Among the changes, a 50% reduction to salaries for former officials and current officials, any government officials. They're also trying to reduce the deficit, the massive deficit, which is currently 11.5%, down to 0.6% in the by 2020. And they're doing that without any extra taxes. That is the idea. They're also eliminating a few ministries that they say are unnecessary. And perhaps most important of all to people, they're saying they will write a draft law to help people to claim back money that's been siphoned off from the state by corrupt politicians. So some quite forward-thinking proposals there, but people here saying, not enough, too little, too late. If you've done this so quickly, you could have done it before. Where were you? We want an entirely new government and a new political class.
And just to remind our viewers, Layla, this all began with a quickly aborted attempt to tax WhatsApp conversations.
So it did, but this WhatsApp tax that was introduced on Thursday, so the idea was, in order to try and reduce this deficit, they were going to put extra taxes on people, including a tax on these calls, on internet communications, because people obviously don't pay for those. That's a real lifeline in this country for people. But it wasn't just the WhatsApp tax on Thursday. That was the straw that broke the camel's back. Earlier in the week, there were these wildfires across the country. And at first, there was a huge groundswell of reaction, everybody helping out. And then people started to say, where's the state reaction? Where's the government in all this? And they found out that there were 3 helicopters, firefighting water helicopters, that had been donated in 2009, free of charge to the Lebanese state after the last massive fires to make it not happen again. And the Lebanese state had not even been able to put aside the money for the maintenance and spare parts for that. And so they were sitting useless in the airport. And people said, this level of mismanagement, this level of governance, we cannot cope with this anymore. So it was a whole week that built up and was then sparked off by that WhatsApp tax that was suggested.
Molana-Allen reporting live